Welcome to Absolute Trust Talk with your host, Kirsten Howe. Absolute Trust Talk brings you tips, tools, advice, and interviews to help you build a reliable knowledge base on estate planning, business, and finance to start preparing for your future today.
Hello, and welcome to Absolute Trust Talk. This is our video podcast at Absolute Trust Counsel. I'm Kirsten Howe. And this today is our third episode on insurance with the same guest, Dean Myers, the owner of Core Insurance Agency. Dean's agency is independently owned commercial insurance brokerage firm. If you listen to our last two episodes, you know that he has a particular specialty in errors and omissions policies for professionals, certain categories of professionals. What we're going to talk about today, though, honestly, is the thing that I've been most looking forward to talking with Dean about, and that's cyber insurance, because I think there's got to be some really great stories in there. So I saved the best for last. Hopefully you all agree. Dean, welcome back. Thank you so much for being here again.
Absolutely. It's my pleasure. Thanks so much for having me, Kirsten.
It's my pleasure, actually. I've learned so much along the way. So this is our third episode. We're going to talk about cyber insurance. Let's just start with the basics. What is cyber insurance?
Well, cyber insurance is, of all the coverages, I think cyber insurance is the broadest. For such esoteric coverage, it covers system failure, it covers ransomware, it covers what we call business email compromise, it covers business interruption, it covers contingent business interruption, it covers forensics. We hire breach coaches. When we get a claim, like workers' comp claims, you get it to the carrier and then they assign an adjuster and the whole thing. When it's cyber, well, they got to hire an attorney, they got to hire a CPA forensics, they got to hire a claims adjuster, they got to hire legal counsel, it's very broad, but really for two reasons. One is the carriers want to protect and restore your system, your computer system, as quickly as possible at the lowest cost possible. Secondly, more and more of these carriers are reporting these claims. I think there might be an industry or a legal reason. They need to report these to a database. So unlike general liability, for example, they don't report these claims other than to an industry database. But a cyber claim that hits you affects everybody. And we need to be aware of these things. And I have so many stories. There's no way. I mean, we'd have to do multiple podcasts. And some of these claims are crazy. And most of them, I think, to a large extent, are preventable. Unlike many other claims where it's just happenstance. An injured worker trips and falls. That's, or gets hit over the head by a falling beam if they're a contract. Cyber claims come out of the blue and they send off shockwaves because it affects the entire business and then potentially beyond.
Okay, so that's very interesting. I mean, I guess it covers just such a it provides a very broad set of remedies or fixes, just because the one thing that happened had to do with a breach of some sort of your network, your internet connection. It's anybody who's using the internet.
Exactly. And so some coverages are first party, as we mentioned in previous podcasts. Some are third party, general liability. This is both first and third party.
Okay, right.
So you could be sued because you sent an email to one of your clients and that email contained a virus or an attachment or a link. We're seeing more and more of that. And your client clicked on that link and boom,
and it did damage to them. Yeah.
Or sometimes your email got compromised, but you didn't know it. And somebody who hacked into your system sends an email to one of your clients saying, listen, here's the latest invoice. This one we forgot about. So-and-so in my office just was on vacation and just pay this invoice.
And my client pays the invoice to some guy in Russia.
Yeah, exactly. And it's almost always overseas because most countries don't have the same level of security and accountability, particularly in Russia, that we do in the United States. If you get nailed in the United States for cyber warfare, cyber attacks, you're going to jail for a long time. In Russia, they may reward you for it.
Right.
Hey, good for you.
Share those techniques with us.
Pretty much, yeah. I mean, not to be picking on Russia, but it could be anywhere. It could be
right. Yeah.
Yeah. So
any one of a number of countries that.
Well, wherever the countries have lax cybersecurity laws.
Yeah. Okay. So you mentioned ransom. would cyber insurance pay a ransom?
They would pay a ransom. They'll advise the carrier.
If it's the appropriate thing to do?
Well, sometimes in a knee-jerk way, I had a claim recently with an accounting firm that just paid the ransom as $55,000.
Uh-huh.
And then they went back to the carrier and saying that we just paid this ransom. It's $1,000 deductible. So the deductibles are really low. So can you write us a check $54,000? And the carrier said, no, we didn't authorize that.
Right.
We wanted to do our own forensics. But for two reasons. One is we got to make sure the claim's legit.
Sure.
Because there's $40 billion annually in fraud in the insurance industry. Not the carriers are committing the fraud, it's false claims or claims that are being inflated. So they need to do their investigative work.
Yeah.
Is it a legitimate claim? It doesn't, and that goes beyond cyber. The second thing is, well, we want to protect your system. We want to know the source. Now, ransomware more and more it's more based on this accounting firm 2 days before tax returns, April 13th. One of their CPAs was so tired and busy that they clicked on a link they shouldn't have clicked on and shared their login information and password. Now, most of us are thinking, that's crazy. Who would do that? You'd be surprised.
Yeah, it happens.
If you're tired, you're busy, you're in the middle of things, it came from a legitimate source. It came from one of the partners, but the partner's name had an extra E in it where it shouldn't have. Like Myers is M-Y-E-R-S. It could have been M-E-Y-E-R-S. Something so subtle as to escape the attention of a highly trained CPA. And they're sharp people. I insure them for their E&O. They're really good. But it happens. They're human, as you said previously. Yeah. Well, the gig's up. But if you start paying those ransomware, 50-50, you're going to get your system back. So how do you trust the person who committed this crime against you then to all of a sudden, well...
Oh, yeah, we'll give it back.
yeah, we'll be nice people. Well, some of these ransomware, affiliations have their own 800 customer service numbers. Hey, we'll set you up on Coinbase. We've got your back. We're going to help you through this process. It's like, wow. But from what I've heard, it's pretty solid customer service.
Okay. But the insurance company needs to investigate all of that and make sure it's legitimate, make sure you're actually going to get your system back if you pay the ransom.
Exactly.
And they're not going to keep after you.
Well, that's a brilliant point because that's what happens. You got a bullseye on your back now.
Yep. I mean, that's what extortionists do. They get you to pay once and now they know I got a sucker.
Right.
Keep coming back. Yeah.
They'll click on my links and they'll pay immediately. So
it might make sense not pay the ransom and figure out another way to get your system back.
Well, in most cases, yes. Because when you think about $55,000, I know most people think, oh, they're going to ask for millions. They're not going to do that.
No, because they want to get paid.
Right. They want to get paid. Yeah. And most cyber policies only have $1 million limit. You can get more. But I think the thinking for what we're seeing, the trend is they're going after smaller and smaller businesses that don't have the robust protection, the endpoint detection and response. I've seen claims where we have these time bombs where if an employee's name is removed from the database, it'll trigger a virus within that system. So if an employee gets fired, they've got a backup plan. They're going to hold their former employer hostage. Yeah, if their name is removed from the database. So it's just sitting there. Well, most small businesses wouldn't have the software to know if there's a stranger roaming around or a virus in this case roaming around in your system until it's too late.
It's already released. Yeah.
It's already released. Exactly.
That's fascinating. You just create your own severance package.
That's a great way to put it.
Oh my goodness.
But it happens. Yeah. I have a son-in-law who's in IT. I mean, he could do all these things. I won't say where he works, but but that's not that difficult a thing to do is the thing if you have access to the system. Yeah.
Especially if you're a coder or, that's what you do for a living.
Exactly. Right.
It's not hard. And there are millions and millions of those employees. So you mentioned that it's really not that expensive to buy cyber insurance, but is it hard to qualify? Do you have to prove things to the insurance company? Like we have all these securities in place. How does that work?
Yeah, you do. But there are things you should have in the first place, like multi-factor authentication. You should have more than one password or method, a key or, getting an extra layer of protection. So multi-factor MFA, we call it multi-factor authentication. That is an absolute requirement. There's probably at this point no carrier that would insure any business that didn't have that.
Got it.
And then from there, you're going to need the appropriate firewalls. You're going to need antivirus protection. What most of these carriers would do, and incidentally, most carriers writing cyber are not your traditional AIGs and Chubbs. These are startup insurtech companies out of Silicon Valley with names like Cowbell and Coalition and Corvus, and they all start with C for whatever
Those
reason. I don't know,
fanciful names.
AtBay. I mean, these techie type names, but they're very good at what they do. When you apply for insurance, they may put on their what's called a white hat. Some of your viewers will probably know what this is. And they'll do a very simple, non-intrusive, but mock attack on your system, just to see if there are any open ports or any ways of entry into your system. It's kind of like having an open parking spot in your building's garage. You can't get out of your car unless there's an open parking spot. Once there are open parking spots there, then you can get out of your car and roam into the building.
Oh, yeah.
So that's what they're looking for. Now, they're not going to attack you with a virus or anything like that. So they'll run a test. It's a free charge as part of the application process. They show those results with the client, with the law firm in your case, but it's also part of the underwriting profile as well. And they may come back and say, listen, we can insure you, but it's going to cost you $8,000. But if you fix these things, it'll cost you $3,000.
Okay.
So it's not just an eligibility, it's also a cost mechanism as well.
Got it. Okay. So that's once you get your multi-factor authentication in place, which you said is absolutely going to be required no matter what, you could just start the process and they're going to help you figure out what else you should have.
Exactly. And again, it serves them as well.
Sure.
Now, I think the requirement's going to be at some point that you're going to have an IT person. The accounting firm that I alluded to earlier, and I've seen this with law firms as well, they have somebody on staff. It could be a legal secretary or it could be a bookkeeper if it's an accounting firm. I have a degree in computer science, but you don't want me as your IT person just because I have a degree in computer science.
Uh-huh.
So we're trying to get industries that are vulnerable to cyber attacks away from trying to split hairs, so to speak, and hire either in-house IT or have somebody, a vendor specific to that type of industry IT, because now the application, there's going to be a section in the application that the IT person has to complete. It's only 4 or 5 questions, but that's going to be another requirement if it isn't already.
Okay, got it. So rather than saying, okay, this paralegal is also our IT person. No, don't do that.
Don't do
Get
that.
an actual IT person.
Well, yeah, because the IT person is going to be current,
Right. They got to be like, this is seriously my job. And I have to do it.
Exactly. And some of the claims I've seen are self-inflicted. I had a claim recently where a woman was a firm manager of a large law firm in the Bay Area, and she was on LinkedIn one night and she saw her job was being advertised. Like, we have an opening at this law firm for a firm manager. It was her law, but she got mad. So she hacked in with her brother-in-law, who was an IT person, and destroyed files, and because she was mad at the law firm. So she comes in Monday morning and there's havoc in the law firm. Managing partner says, we think you were behind this. And she said, well, yeah, you're going to fire me. And they said, we're going to fire you. We're going to promote you.
Oh, no.
Surprise.
But now you're fired.
Now you're fired.
Oh, my gosh.
So at least it wasn't a virus. We were able to get the files.
You could unwind it. Yeah.
Yeah. But it was disruptive. But
wow,
no IT person could have prevented that. I mean, they probably could have to the extent of.
I guess. I mean, if your own employees are going to sabotage you, that's got to be hard to protect against.
Right. There are some things that are just, well, and we're going to get into deepfakes. So there's going to be a whole new slew of claims where you call and verify. Like one of the claims we see are funds fraud transfers, where your client says, oh, transfer, we got a new bank. Well, then you call and verify. And a lot of law firms don't do that. And you hear the person's voice, and it sounds like your client's voice.
Person you think it should be, yeah.
And then you ask a question. Hey, Dean, how was your vacation in Hawaii? And I say, oh, it was great, Kirsten. It was wonderful. Well, I didn't vacation in Hawaii. I vacationed in San Diego.
Right.
So you're going to have these trip questions that only you would know the answer to that aren't public information. So there are ways you can deal with the call verification. Mm-hmm. I'm sure some people are thinking that's easy to get around as well. Not if you have personal knowledge of your clients,
Yeah. Oh, deep fakes. Oh, gosh.
It's coming. Artificial intelligence, although artificial intelligence could work in our favor as well to preventing at least the claims process. So there are counterbalances to everything in insurance, and we think this one's going to work in our favor. So
okay. All right. Yeah. Excellent. Thank you so much for sharing what you know about cyber insurance, about all of it, the E&O, the general liability. Thank you so much. This has been such an informative series, and I think really important for people to know and understand, and at least have a jumping off point. So
yeah, I hope so. It's been my pleasure.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Kirsten.
You are welcome. And thank you all for watching and listening. I hope that you learned even a tenth as much as I did and enjoyed yourself along the way. We look forward to connecting with you next time.
Thank you for joining us today for another episode of Absolute Trust Talk Live. If you enjoyed listening in, then don't forget to subscribe. You can find us on Apple Podcasts or wherever you may listen by searching Absolute Trust Talk. While you're there, we would also love for you to leave us a review. And then why not share your favorite episodes with family, friends, or colleagues too? You can find all of our shows and corresponding show notes by visiting absolutetrustcounsel.com. You'll also find a variety of other free resources, including our ebooks, videos, blogs, presentations, and more. If you need help with your estate planning or administration, we also offer a free discovery call to help get the process started. You can find more information on booking your session by visiting absolutetrustcounsel.com/scheduling. If you join us for the broadcast, you can submit questions during the show. But if not, don't worry. You can always get in touch with us by sending a quick message to info@absolutetrustcounsel.com. Thanks again for listening. We'll see you soon.
This podcast is not meant to take the place of legal advice from an attorney and does not create an attorney-client relationship. If you do have a legal question or issue, please consult with an attorney.